My name is Jeffrey Van Wingen. I'm a family physician practicing in Grand Rapids, Michigan with 20 years experience. The point of this video is to help you shop safer and get takeout food safer during the stay-at-home shutdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. Today is March 24th, and we've been in this for about a week here, and things are just starting to get serious. I'm a healthcare provider under a lot of stress. Please be nice in your comments. We are at stay-at-home orders here in Michigan, and more states are coming on board with this, and our movements are restricted. Italy went on a stay-at-home order on March 10th, and despite that, they posted their greatest death toll on March 20th. So people are moving, and with that movement comes risk. We have a dilemma in society that we need to eat to live, but we also need to get that food. And that getting of food is now risky. And I'm going to help you reduce your risk as you go out into the marketplace. Now, they say that desperate times call for desperate measures, and these times are unprecedented. But I believe there is a precedent that we use in the medical field called sterile technique that can reduce risk as you go out in the marketplace. And we use it to perform surgeries, to be in sterile environments so that we don't give infections to our patients. And I'm going to help you adapt those techniques to decrease your risk of contracting coronavirus when you go out and get your food. Now, I want to answer the question, how long does the coronavirus live outside of a human body? And we've recently gotten some conflicting data, and I just want to throw that out there. Last week, the National Institute of Health published in the New England Journal of Medicine an article that showed that coronavirus can live in an aerosolized, outside the body situation for 3 hours. It can live on plastic and metal surfaces for 3 days. That's a lot better to deal with than the data that we got just last night from the Center for Disease Control that found that on cruise ships, they discovered active coronavirus particles 17 days later. Now, we don't know if that's something specific for the cruise ships or if that's something that we need to adapt to society. So in this, I'm going to give some practices, and we're just going to say, go out there, use this knowledge, and do the best that you can. Now, when you go out to get your groceries and you bring them home, try not to bring them into your house unless you absolutely need them. Now, if we're going to go with the logic of the National Institute of Health, we could leave those groceries in our garage or on our porch for 3 days. And if you use a shopping service, please don't have them come into your house. Have them dump them outside so that you can bring them in when you need them. And if you must bring them in, we're going to go through some tips using these modified sterile techniques to remove possible coronavirus from the groceries containers and the groceries themselves. Now, thinking about how I can explain this to a public, imagine that the groceries that you have are covered with some glitter. And your goal at the end of this is to not have any glitter in your house, on your hands, or especially on your face. And imagine that disinfectants and soap, they have the power to dissolve that glitter. So when you're out in the store, it's not just about wiping down the shopping cart handle with an antiseptic wipe. We need to do more than that. We need to be better than that when we go into the supermarket. Here's some tips. Wipe down your cart. When you look at items and you're considering buying, commit to buy those items before you pick them up. You don't know if there's coronavirus on those, and you don't want to be putting coronavirus on those. Stores are doing better. They're sanitizing their stores at night, but they are not sanitizing every canned good and every plastic wrapped item. Don't go to the supermarket if you have any respiratory illness whatsoever. Furthermore, don't allow your loved ones over the age of 60 to go to the supermarket. We need to take care of our elders in these times, and we can bring groceries to them after we've ensured that they're safe. Plan before you go to the supermarket. Minimize your time in the supermarket, and I recommend that you get 2 weeks worth of groceries when you go. Now, before I go outdoors and get my groceries to bring them inside, I'm going to sanitize my table. I'm just going to use a standard disinfectant. And on that note, the Center for Disease Control says that we can use any standard disinfectant to rid our surfaces of coronavirus. I'm going to saturate this so that when I come to it and go back to it, I'm going to consider this as clean. Now this side of the table is going to be my clean side, and we're going to consider the other side of the table as a dirty side where we're going to put our groceries from outside the house. So remember, everything that goes to this side of the table is going to be considered clean and sanitized. Now I have a bag with some medicine in it. I'm going to open that bag, but because I know that human hands have touched this medication bottle in less than 72 hours, I'm going to wipe that down. I'm going to place it on the clean side. But this box of cereal is a different story. It's a box that has cardboard, so we know that coronavirus can likely live on this surface for 24 hours. But on the inside, no human hands have touched this for more than a few days. So I can just dump that and I can get rid of the box. Now with this broccoli, I've got a couple different options. I could have somebody open my refrigerator, open the crisper, open the bag, and dump it right in the crisper, or I could just sanitize it. Now, I've got to bring some groceries to my parents. They're in their mid-70s, and I'm going to be dropping those off later today. So I'm going to grab this bag, put it on the clean surface, and I'm going to just dump their groceries into this bag. Now, I'm a big fan of cloth bags, but I don't think now was the time for me to take my cloth bags and increase risk. But if you must, after you're done with those cloth bags, consider them dirty and make sure that they go outside. So I'm going to wipe this down and make sure that your rag is good and saturated with disinfectant, because you got to be putting that disinfectant on these groceries, and you got to be making sure that you're scrubbing them. Now, one other thing that I could do with certain items, such as this bread, is I can use clean containers to dump items inside without touching those items. So I'm going to just dump this bread into this container to seal it off and not allow any sort of contamination of the bag. More hardy plastic things that you're not worried about disinfecting more liberally, you can actually spray the disinfectant right on those items. Now these chips, again, I could dump them into a container, but I'm just going to choose to spray them off. That's okay, before they go into the pantry. Now, you want to wipe off the areas that you think humans' hands were touching a bit more liberally than the areas that you don't think human hands have touched. That's all common sense stuff. Now lastly, I've got some fruit here, and the way I'm going to handle fruit is I'm going to treat this fruit, which is pretty much porous. It's kind of like our skin. So if I wash that like we should be washing our hands for 20 seconds, then that should be just fine. I'm going to dump it in some soapy water here. And I'm going to come back and watch each one individually. And I do think that the better you are soaking the fruit, the better it's going to be as far as your chances of getting that completely sterilized from coronavirus. Okay, so I've just returned from foraging for some food. I have a clean table all around, some clean plates, and my goal, since I don't know the situation inside of the fast food restaurant, is to get this food over to here in a clean way and then get this cleaned off and get it outside the house. So to do that, I'm going to wash my hands here. Say I did that for 20 seconds with soap and water, scrubbing real good. I'm going to open up this. Now, fortunately, the good news is that you don't have to worry so much about the food. Coronavirus does not do well in food, but it's the wrappers that I'm more concerned about. And I know you're asking, can I microwave this? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, you can. Now, I'm not talking about the novel COVID-19 coronavirus. I'm referring to some other coronavirus species, and studies showed that even just a little bit of microwaving takes care of the coronavirus. In addition, heat destabilizes the coronavirus as well. The downside is that on the other side, with frozen foods, you're not going to do so well. Some coronavirus species can live inside of a frozen environment for up to 2 years. So I would not consider your freezer safe ground to kill coronavirus. A good example would be a frozen pizza. You bring a frozen pizza in, you've got the cardboard box, you've got some plastic wrapping, and with that, you can dump the plastic out and consider the cardboard dirty, and then go ahead, clean your hands and put that plastic into the freezer and you're good. With ice cream, I would make sure that you use some disinfectant to scrub down the outside of the container before you put it into the freezer. With sauces, you want to try to get these sauces onto the plate without exposing to the packaging. Just do the best you can. Now, what I'll do is I'll throw these in the microwave before I start to eat them. I'm going to try to get them hot so I see some steam coming off them. When you do choose food at a takeout restaurant, I think now's the time to choose more hot goods over cold goods. And that's it. I'm going to ask you to share this video. It's not about popularity. It's about getting the word out with education. In these unprecedented times, safety out in the marketplace can literally save lives.